Hey everyone, just some quick tips here for installing your new door handles. So you're basically going to get it like this. You've got two screws here. They are hex 2mm hex heads. Okay, then you're going to have your outer ones, which are 3mm. I'll be really careful with the 2mm. They are pretty small hardware. You don't want to snap them in there when you're installing it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually just remove the hardware. It's just finger tight. And the outer hardware. Now you're going to be left with this, which is going to be installed in the car. There are these bushings here, which the rod goes through. These should be correctly oriented for E30s. For E28s, E24s, and E23s, I'm not sure, because they do use the same handle, but I'm not sure if the rod goes through the same. So you might have to pop them out and flip it, which is pretty simple. The end with the lip is where the rod is going to go through initially. It's the larger hole here, and it comes down to a smaller hole, and I'll show you in a second for installing them. Now these are anodized, so they are pretty well protected, but what you want to do while you're installing, there are some possible jagged edges of the door, so I do recommend just putting some masking tape over the handle part just to protect it during installation. And we'll move on to the car now. I assume you mostly know how to get to this point. This car is totally gutted, so it's a little bit easier. As you can see here, this is the passenger side. The rod loops downward. On the driver's side, the rod loops upward. Handle gets looped up and installed in the back. Before you put the handle on, you're going to want to put just a dab of grease on that bushing. Make sure that the rod is also cleaned. Sometimes they can get a little grimy. Slide it like so on, and then you're going to pivot it up. Once it's installed, you can check operation. Now, some cars may have some play in this rod, where the handle might kind of have a little bit of play and stick out. I recommend just you could put a small kink in the rod, very small, just to kind of take up that play. Depending on the mechanism, you may or may not have this issue. As you can see, my car has just this slight bit of play there. There you go, just a small kink there, and we're good. We don't have any more play in the handle. Also, if you get any grease or dirt on it, a little bit of alcohol or some acetone. Don't use any harsh chemicals, it can stain the anodizing. Now I have just flat panels I'm putting on. Depending on how much clearance you have around your panel, I have to just add a little bit of clearance for these holes for the cover that goes on it. Stock panels won't have a problem. Aftermarket flat panels, you might have to just take a file and just make a tiny bit of room. Take the cover, place it on, starting with one screw, get it snug, get the other one snug, you don't want to go much more than a little bit. Just hand tight on these. If you go too tight, you will break them. That's it, you're good to go. No more broken door handles.